But thank you all for being here.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, thank you. I don't know how the budget process works, but we did spend about $2,500 of money that was very, very hardly, that's difficult to raise, right? We scratched it $20 at a time to raise probably close to $8,000 last year. We had a thing at the yard, we had a big fundraiser. We spent about $2,500 in lumber there to build those. Honestly.
Thank you all for being here.
And in the next few years, we love that.
Something was wrong with the audio.
Thank you very much for acknowledging everything that we've done. And
I don't know.
there are literally
I'm hoping
hundreds.
that's why I've been playing around with it.
CI Winter. And there were, of the folks that were here, at least a half of those of the folks that were here and are here right now. There were, dozens that helped. These projects.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we'll keep your information. Thank you for sharing that information with us. Yeah, appreciate it.
Good. Thank you. Okay. We'll see you all.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to our departments, so the DPW.
All right. We have some really good news. We have some employees that we'd like to hire, right? So that's fantastic. John Leonardo, maintenance worker at the contract rate of $23.06 an hour. And Piper Bowers as a laborer at the contract rate of $16.30. So a motion.
And that they started.
They can start tomorrow.
Okay, so.
Motion to hire
You
these.
want to separate?
Sure, I mean, I have them separate.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
John Leonardo. Do we want to hire, I moved to hire John Leonardo.
Second, okay.
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye. And that's, what is that, 6 month probationary period?
It's a year.
What?
It's a year. 1 year.
Okay,
All in
then
favor?
for Piper Bowers at $16.30 an
So
hour.
moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Okay, and we're seeking to replace snowflakes.
Yeah, so we've had the same snowflakes since way before I started here. Probably before Tyler started here too.
So we've
They're
got
probably our originals.
We got maybe a good 40 years out of them.
good run on the snowflakes. So we're seeking to replace 8 of the snowflakes. How many in total are there? 8. Okay, all 8 snowflakes, $6,592.60. And these snowflakes are the ones that you can recall, they're all along the bridge.
Correct. So
And I'll second.
moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
So we have a Salter for International CV Swamp Loader. You want to decode that?
Yeah, so that's just the name of the truck. It's the International CV. When we bought the truck 2 years ago, we took the Salter that was on the truck it replaced and used that. The Salter is still in decent shape, but I want to sell that with the truck that we've already surplus because this swamp loader did not come with a Salter body. So it's gonna quickly rot out the dump body that it's on right now. So working through Tracy Road Equipment and MDI, we're gonna attach the Salter to a brand new flatbed. And that we'll be able to swap in and out with the other attachments that we have with the truck. So if we're not salting at the time, we'll be able to take the Salter off and then put the dump body or flatbed on. It'll be the same style Salter with the computer and everything inside, so it'll be the same for the guys, so there's no learning curve or anything like that.
Just makes the use of the trucks more efficient.
Yeah.
So we want to do all of that for $26,312.
And that's on county contract.
So moved.
Second,
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
so, projects that are ongoing, DPW's parking lot, paving has been completed. We're all done?
All done.
Wonderful. If you need a place to go spin some wheelies, there's a grant. Yeah, you park the lots and try it out. I don't think cars can do that now, right? Oh, man.
Yeah, they can. You have to build them that way. There's still gas.
Hot Dog Island is, cleaned up or getting cleaned up?
Now we cleaned up the channel in between Hot Dog Island and the west side.
Lead Yard Canal debris cleanup, and they started to walk the canal, to covering the loose debris. And of course, they did an excellent job preparing for the Bagel Festival. And in their free time and all of that, they undertook some CDL training.
So that's what you and I talked about, Jane,
Oh, that's right.
with, so we have been trying to work with, federal motor carriers to have the village become a certified training center for CDL. And initially it's taking forever to get answers on what we need to do, steps we need to take. The village of Manlius and the village of East Syracuse have utilized a woman that is out of East Syracuse as a certified trainer. So I'd just like permission from the board to at least explore that option and then come back with a plan and cost and all that stuff.
It sounds, not only doable, like they will be financially doable, but it sounds like it is the more efficient way to go. And all of this is because of the change in New York state laws, more recent change in New York state laws, so.
Because one of our new hires just needs a little bit to get
Right.
to the class A.
Yes.
CDL, but we already have class B.
Right.
So a little bit more to get to the other.
So, I support that completely, if you wanna get, costs
It's
associated with
fine
that.
with, that's fine, right, for him to explore
Yeah.
the woman to train.
There's no need for a motion.
No, not right now.
So-
I just want to let you know that I was thinking about going down that road.
Just getting it started.
And if we ever do hear back from, and I'll be a certified trainer, then at that point, and we won't have to outsource, we can train in-house, but it might take a little bit to hear back, so.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. So this is a solution for now. In the meantime, you will continue.
Yeah.
Along your pathway to become certified trainer. So this is not necessarily an annual expense.
Right.
Certainly maybe this year. Yeah.
Do you have a driver with a class A license on board?
No, he misspoke. It's a C. He's waiting for it to be.
Okay.
He's had a permit
sorry.
for almost
Yeah.
about a year.
Well, class A, if you have some, even somebody with a class B license, as I trained for the county, you can go down and take, it's like 2 classes with somebody in the DPW, and get like, the certification themselves. You can't give the road test, but you can do the actual training.
Right.
And the thing is with you guys plowing, because of the CDL license, there's extra step because when you do your pre-trips, you gotta do pre-trips for the plows and links and
Yeah.
sanders and everything, so there's that extra step, so it might be beneficial for somebody in the department themselves to get that. And you can actually train somebody to take the test afterwards, but I mean, to hire somebody outside, because that person isn't gonna know your plow equipment, and your
Yeah.
plow equipment has to be pre-trips. And it's kind of the post-trip, so you're better off having somebody in the DPW to do it themselves.
That's where we're headed.
The town is pursuing the same plan.
Oh, okay.
And we've also utilized, what person teaches the school bus drivers for people that are brand new to get them to the first level, but then we have to make a file start to move somebody who knows.
But try to get your drivers both trained on standard and an automatic. Because there's a restriction on the licenses still.
We no longer have any standards at our shop currently, so.
Well, very
Hope you
good.
don't get it. Because they're cheaper, you know?
Anything else?
Anything else, you guys? So I just have 2 comments that were sent to, May, the emails, and one is a village resident that wanted to thank the DPW for the job they did in cleaning up that channel along Hot Dog Island there, and facilitating and maintaining the Ledyard Dike. And the other is also a gentleman that lives outside the village on Ledyard, or on Old Dike Way. And the DPW, he contacted the DPW about a fallen tree then into the dike, and so they came, he had a good experience with the initial contact, whoever talked to him at the DPW, so obviously one of you two. And he had a good experience through the whole cleanup of the problem. They took care of, putting stuff down on their lawn, so they didn't mark up their lawn. They got rid of the little tree then, cleaned everything up afterwards, and he's been away on vacation. So this was a little while ago, back in July, but he didn't get around to thanking us until now. He wanted to make sure that the DPW as a whole, so obviously you two get the whole, so it's recognized for the work that you do for the community. So thank you.
Thanks.
Fire department. Dan?
Yeah, I got three
Right.
applications.
Sorry, Dan.
This has to do with the DPW, you guys. We had issues with our papers in front of our driveway for about a year going between the state and the village and everything. And I'd like to thank Bobby and I'd like to thank Dan, and I think I'd like to thank you for resolving that. And we had a short window when we're gonna put the driveway in, and you guys worked within a short period of time, and the papers are in. And we want to thank you very much.
No, good, but it worked out.
That's great.
I got three applications. Charlie Crosset, he volunteer, and it's fire department. We got Will McKenzie. He is interested in the EMS part, and then we got Bryce Fay. He is interested in both fire and EMS. So I move that they be accepted as volunteers.
I'll second. Any discussion? All in favor? Anything else from you? Sorry, the chief is out of town. So at the last meeting, we talked about a bench donation, and now we have a request for a second one. This was sent, and Mark Miller's here tonight, so this was, Mark's talked about this. So I don't recall, and it's not clear in the minutes whether we accepted the donation of the bench, so now we're gonna after accepting the donation of two benches. So the first bench is in memory of Kate Doolittle, given by her family. And they sent us an email after they actually live out of town, the children, but they've, a couple of them were here for a reunion. Met here with Karen, gave them some time, went with Bobby and Tyler down to the Lincoln Park area to scope out different places. She enjoyed the water while she was alive, and walked her dog down there quite a bit, enjoyed the water, the peacefulness of that. So there's a small area, kind of as you're leaving the park to head out, where the bench. And they just said that they really love that location, great view of the water, and a perfectly peaceful place to read, meditate, or watch the water roll by. And their extended family or themselves are being grateful for the consideration opportunity to have something like this. And so, accepted
Well,
donation.
just to add, I think, that there was conversation with the Parks Commission about this very specific bench. And the Parks Commission had, without knowing this, had selected the same location that was selected. So, great minds think alike.
That's good.
And I think that's why there wasn't a decision given at the last trustees meeting, because we wanted to first
I know we
ensure
were
what
gonna ask-
the donor wanted to do, and we also wanted to ensure what the Parks Commission felt.
So with all that input and interest, I will make the motion, or yes.
To-
So moved.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any other discussions? In favor?
Right.
The second request, and this was also discussed, I believe, at the Parks Committee, for a family that would like to donate a bench at Washington Park in memory of their father, who lived there for 57 years on the park, and died at the age of 97 in 2019. So, we're waiting on the location of that, but as far as accepting that donation, I'd like to do that so that we can proceed, whether that'll all happen, this fall or in the spring or whatever. We can work our way through location and that way and all that kind of stuff. with that. So as long as the parks were kind of confirmed that they're okay with it, so.
The Parks Commission.
Yeah.
And the deputy and it works.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's really what I'm actually concerned about, where we are with the parks, with the plans, and what's going on with the park plan. If we fit into that.
Who's that?
Linda Myers. Linda Myers.
So
They want to put them in.
So-
move.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor? Next we have the trash and recycle part rental policy that I gave you last time. It was, we've been approached a couple times from people that have had different functions, like a party or something at their house, an occasional type of thing where they don't need additional trash, parts to purchase. So we've come up with a policy where carts will be available for rent on a first come, first served basis. 5 of each cart will be available, the 96 gallon size. Each property is allowed to request up to 1 of each cart, trash and or recycling. Each property is allowed to make the request twice in a calendar year. And then the DPW will coordinate the delivery on the Friday, and then the trash and the recycling will be picked up on the next day. And there's a fee in here if the carts are returned uncleaned or damaged. And also the same fee if the cards are not returned for some reason, if they disappear. Yeah. So, obviously with the advent of, holidays coming up and those things, this will probably be perhaps a necessity for some people, so, we're ready to move forward on this, and after that, we're taking motion to.
I'll move
to
to
this next our list.
And part of it is they also know that we'll have to probably examine this now too, because this is maybe a changing situation.
Yeah.
Uh,
The whole thing with its trash has been
Exactly.
evolving and it will continue to evolve.
Correct.
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Next, we were approached, for a stop sign at the corner of Bishop and Fairfield.
Where do they want that stop sign? And Fairfield?
On Fairfield when you get to Bishop. So I drove it again today, and if you drive down Fairfield and you get to the end, there's quite a bit of growth on the left side of someone's yard. And if you don't stop, you run the risk that if anybody was going out of Bishop, that you would be hit. So I'm assuming people would stop, but it probably doesn't hurt to. Well, I mean, they don't stop at a lot of stops in the village, but they really have to stop or slow down quite a bit to make that turn because of the growth. I don't see putting a stop sign there. It's going to be a problem because it's something people pretty much have to do. So I'm okay with putting a stop sign there, whatever. I think just to clarify that, it takes any liability off the village for not having a stop sign there. If there was any liability for any reason at all, it's would be just to be safe. I think putting it there is the place to put it. So, anybody want the motion?
I'll move.
Put a stop sign there?
You'll move for a stop sign?
Yes.
Yeah, so, yeah, I don't think that I have a conflict of interest. But my daughter happened to just put a contract on the house right there at that stop sign. Huh?
She's been from the tree.
Yeah, it's the first thing I said to her.
Well,
she got a lot of tree coming.
Well, so we'll slow the people down. She
Yes.
thinks it because you can't see around it.
So this was the person in Bishop that submitted this request?
No,
This person is on
Oakwood.
Oakwood.
A person on Oakwood?
Yeah, because they travel it.
So my response is that I live on Green Street and at both ends of Green Street is a stop sign because there's street leaders,
Right.
Now, and Fairfield is teeing into Bishop, and I don't understand why we don't have a stop sign. I
Right.
mean, I
That's what I'm saying,
understand it's
like,
very
kind of
low
common
traffic, but
practice that we would have.
there's kids throughout the neighborhood. They feel like that
And I
From
think-
street to street.
Going on Oakwood. Why
So-
That's not,
Why do you block away?
why don't they want it on Oakwood then?
Well, Oakwood's only a block away.
Because Oakwood
I know,
just comes
I
down
know
and
where it
makes-
is.
I know you
Once it
do.
stops.
Oakwood comes down and makes the curve. You can't turn left down Oakwood. You can only turn right.
So, yeah,
So-
so anyway, I second your motion.
Okay.
Right, any other discussion?
I just, what I said at the last meeting, I just don't understand. I mean, anybody going down that road lives there, but. Okay, I'll go along with it, if you want to. I don't want to look bad.
You won't look bad, but it's.
Yes, I will.
All right, all in favor?
Alright,
We also had a request from somebody that was down on Sims Place for the corner of Kennedy and Warner Road, where we have the same situation. You have Kennedy going this way and Warner Road coming into it. And Sims is down here. So when you come out Sims, people coming down Warner Road, don't stop because there is no stop sign and potential area where they could do a traffic. So I don't know if you're ready to.
I think that's funny because they don't stop at the stop sign off of Warner to Burdick Street. You should see that, none of them do. I know that back there, you can hear them racing down the street back there. It's ridiculous.
So my only, so we have one of the streets teeing into the other, right? Same thing.
Warner
Warner
Tees
Tees.
into Kennedy.
The T.
Yeah, then I think it's the same situation. Totally. I mean, I respect Dan's comment about the level of traffic. Maybe much lower because you're already kind of far into a neighborhood. So if you're back there really for, either live there or you're visiting or something like that. So it's probably a much lower level of traffic, but it's still, you're still teeing into
Right,
roadways.
and if an accident happens, then who has the right to stop or right to go?
Part of it.
You know, I mean, there is.
And if you're gonna blow the traffic,
Signal,
yeah,
you
I
know.
don't know, I'm in favor. So
Okay. You have, let me ask before I move forward. Ben, do you have a comment on this at all, or are you staying there, just trying to absorb it all? You okay? I wanted to be sure.
Kennedy comes into Warren Street, you're supposed to stop. If there's another car coming, by law, the person coming off of
But there's no stop.
Warner
sign.
into Kennedy, you're supposed to stop, you yield the right of way.
You're
You
correct.
know
You
that,
know,
but
But
how many people do you think know that?
Yeah, but how many people are in that neighborhood?
How many?
15? No.
Well, I'm just saying, not everybody knows the rules and how easy is it to put a stop sign there, you know, and then just be done.
I'll second the motion.
Mary, you have a question?
I think you just asked it, I mean, and maybe should know, but if you come to a T, is that what you just said, you have to stop? Isn't that the law, isn't it
Yeah.
like that? When you're-
it is, but stop signs are friendly. I really mean that. I mean.
Yeah, I'm not
excuse me.
disagreeing with that, I'm just
No.
saying it's,
And that's why I personally believe that when you come to a T, you should have a stop sign as frequently as possible. Because it is, and yes, I do understand and I acknowledge that people don't stop at stop signs all is.
When you wanna get tactical, have the stop signs throughout the village. You can't see them until you're upon them, the sight distances taken care of. Trees aren't trimmed properly around the stop sign, speed limit signs, curb signs, or anything like that. So you're gonna put a stop sign up to people, you're gonna have to trim that tree on the corner. Because that's where it's gonna go. There's a big ass tree, that's around the corner.
The speed signs don't work on Burdick.
No, nothing worse than Burdick Street, that's what I'm here. We're gonna fix that tonight. Didn't get anywhere with the town, we'll see what the village will do for us.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Karen has this for us to kind of start to review and look at, and she's gonna talk just briefly about it tonight. Just to give you kind of an introduction, so you can read this and then we can start looking at it. It has to do with archiving, social media.
This was in the magazine, right?
In the magazine?
Yeah,
There, if it was referenced in that, I didn't see any recently, but this is something that, keeps popping up as a consideration in this day and age with a lot of our communication based in social media, that we need to be mindful that it's something we need to be able to, if someone requests certain kind of records, be able to honor those requests. So if they're looking for certain things, we want to be able to have an archive of these, and it's Right now, it's an intangible bunch of correspondence. There are services out there. One is this Archive Social, which works with Civic Plus, who's the web host for our website. And they have a partnership with this group that does just this, archiving social media. So it's at a cost of about $2,500 a year annually, but they help us manage the records for Facebook, Instagram, any of our social media accounts. Should something arise where we need to be able to go back and locate records about a certain incident, event, comment.
Well, what I read in the magazine, it comes down to a question about whether your personal Facebook or X or whatever thing you have is part of public record. In other words, if somebody sends me something, Jim Sweeney sends me something on my Facebook, I say something, he sends it to me, and I delete it rather than letting other public people see that. That's what this is all.
It's related to that because you have that potential. If you're discussing village business, whether I might be wrong, if it's personal Facebook page or the business, I think it is liable to be foiled if requested.
I know for a fact that text messaging is foiled.
Right.
So.
So this is an expanse of that.
No, but wait a minute.
This
If
is
you
an
delete- Not
extension.
necessarily. If you delete it, it's not foilable.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it
That's
is.
the problem.
The owner of that has to delete it. If you send,
That is what I
if
said.
you send a message out and you send it to him and he makes a comment, all his friends on Facebook have seen it.
I'm gonna
And
read
the only
the
way that's gonna
article
get, the
again
only way
then,
that'll get
because I'm-
wiped out is if you delete the original conversation.
I'll have to read the article again.
But that's where that makes it difficult because you don't have control over the complete interaction. The text is one thing, but social media is a little bit different, a little bit broader. So this helps us to maintain the records where right now we don't have that capability. You're at the mercy of what Facebook has and they only retain so far. It's not their business to manage the records or keep them for perpetuity.
When somebody takes a snapshot of what you put out there, it's out there forever.
Right.
So
It's out.
the importance also, I think, of us in our decision making on whether we're going to pick up this expense or not is how we intend to continue using social media. We have picked up our footprint, if you will, on social media. And I think if we intend to continue doing that and intend to have a robust presence on social media, then I think we need to think about how we're gonna manage our records that we create.
Right.
Having a robust presence.
I mean,
on
we've been
social
getting sales pitches for a few years. I mean, the option has been out there, but I think it's finally come to a point where we have to seriously consider it. And I know a lot of other municipalities have considered it or already are engaged in something like this. I haven't looked to see if there's other services that offer the same thing. But this is a group that already works with our website provider, so I feel like it would be a more seamless arrangement.
I actually agree with about this. This is one of the, I come from a software background, working in software for the last 19 years before I retired. And from a liability point of view, as far as being foiled, if you don't do this kind of thing, if you're not doing it within house, we don't have the opportunity or the capability to do that. So we would really be in a position where we're better off taking the service and do this. The problem is you put your head in the sand, you will in fact be engulfed by the sand before you get done in this kind of scenario, because that's what really is going on with all social media. We use social media to a great extent to inform our residents about what we're doing and what's going on in our community. One of the things we must understand is we are using more and more different types of communication with our residents in order to have the kind of communication that our residents desire as well. And so we have to do that. We don't have really options not to do that. If we do that, we're basically going to cutting off communication with people who reside in our community.
And that's not good for our community. Just to put it bluntly. So we really do need to look at this. This is where we have to go. I don't know if there's any other options here, Karen. I need to.
Well, there's probably other companies.
There
other
could be, and I
options. This is
haven't
just something
pursued
that-
it. I wanted to see first how you even felt about the
I
concept.
think it's important to pursue.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I think it's also important for us to look kind of what other options, what other things are being offered, as much as possible. You're not going crazy, because you can go on for a day. And I know.
Well, I hope everybody reads the article in the,
I think this is a start.
That's
So
what
we're
we're
the night.
yeah, this is it.
Well, you also have the other option.
Well, I don't know if this is it. This is something that was provided to me by this group, Archive Social, but they very well might be aware of NICOM articles in other
We just-
publications that are related to
It was
the importance of social media.
at the conference, you all these people went.
Yeah, one of the things you do have a point, Danny, is understanding the difference between what is your own personal
Well,
versus.
I can
what
check
is
with
your-
NICOM
And whether it's from your position, quote unquote. And I
for a couple
understand
reasons.
that's very difficult.
it's not mine. I read it.
I know, but you.
I read it.
understand. And it's a hard concept for everyone.
Don't give me any
to look
credit.
at.
No,
The
thank you
person
for
changing up
mentioning
this
it.
issue
I will
Also by.
find the article from NICOM to share for me as well as the board,
Well,
and
they all
also
have
see
the same-
what they know about options to consider.
I think that's a great idea.
So it's the beginning. It's not.
It's beginning, exactly. And I think we.
But it,
Well, but
everybody
thank you for
can
being
review it,
receptive to it.
review it, look into it. Discuss it in future meeting and proceed however.
Well, transparency, is that what we're talking about? Is that word?
Yes, we are actually.
Well, okay, thank you.
Yes, in a sense.
Because
some
I
degree.
always wondered what that meant.
Well, a piece of it, Dan.
It's, this is the equivalent of somebody foiling, something from the office.
Like
that's
they claim they weren't aware of an
already.
event being advertised, and we can
Now
say,
they
yes, it
can-
was.
They could foil something that's on the social media side as opposed to a physical paper that's easy to make a copy of and hand to somebody.
I see it entirely.
It's the way of the world. Trustee reports, Dan, do you have anything for us? No.
Yes, Parks Commission would like to, will begin reviewing, steps necessary to take to update the Parks Master Plan. And by that, Mark Miller is here, he's the chairperson of the Parks Commission. And by that, they were talking about, I think beginning around the new year. Understanding what, taking a look at the plan, understanding the degree of update they want to consider, and then determining whether and we'll work with them on this, whether to go back to the consultants who wrote the current plan and have them do an update, whether to canvas, put out an RFP and let everybody respond, the level to which this is undertaken. We just wanted to let everybody know ahead of time.
So they'll review what might change, share what needed.
Sure, yeah.
Add or whatever is.
Well, the Parks Commission is always looking at the Parks Master Plan to determine what actions have been taken, what are not, what haven't been taken.
And since we did the last master plan in 2018. Since then, we've done the comprehensive plan. So we just want to make sure everything's aligned. And then there's the other topic of accessibility within our parks. So we want to make sure we don't have a lot of language in our master plan previously. So we all agree that it should be included. So that's another area that we want to include. In the master plan. Parks.
Let me make a quick comment. I want to thank Mark and Parks Commission for being at the April Festival.
Yeah.
Very interesting and good conversation with Mark from Alta Parks. And it's really sort of kind of thing of watching the citizens do it. It's really a wonderful thing for them to have that interaction. So thank you.
I was just going, yeah, thanks a lot. I was just going to ask you how it went. Get a lot of reaction.
We had more comments from the adults. We had a lot more of the children. So if you engage the children, we get more comments from the adults. The other thing we had the big map of, we had
map printed out that's 8 by, or like 4 by 3, and people didn't know where parks were, so it was a great talking point, so it's great way to reach out to the community. A lot of good comments.
Yeah, he did a nice job.
There
Mark
was.
already said something, but I was gonna say something. I wanted, what's your report? That was it.
A lot of people like the parks, but they don't,
Yeah.
we have so many parks.
Yeah,
So-
so that's actually one of the things the commission is currently working on is working behind the scenes with Karen on the village website to see if we can get a more interactive. I don't know.
That same map in an interactive capacity.
Website so people can go find their parks because they don't know that there's all these parks. in town. So that's kind of cool. That'd be very, very great feature. We're getting there. It's time. That's all. Oh, the cottage is still. Standing. It's still standing. Actually, you know what? Should we do this right now? We have had a proposal from Chittenango Lumber for complete replacement of the windows in the cottage. Every single window in the cottage is gonna be replaced. We're gonna replace in kind, and what we mean by that is if you're familiar with the cottage, on the first floor, the windows have a certain dimension to them and design to them. We're keeping to that dimension. We're not going to try to box them in or change that dimension at all. We're gonna stay with that dimension for every single one of those windows. And that's really where the expense is that first level. The second level of the cottage really has double ones. It's much more standard windows, standard to our current time period. So those will also get replaced, but that won't be as expensive. So we had them come into the cottage and they did a very thorough review of what is currently there and what it will take to replace these windows. And they then presented us with this proposal. It's not inexpensive, so the total is $17,375 to do every single window. And this money will be covered by grant funds. And we have enough in that.
You don't need, you only need one
Only in one.
bid.
Well, because we're trying to keep the historical side of it. And I think we did reach out to some other, and
I tried to reach out.
nobody's responded.
Yeah, I have not been successful.
Just as long as you have proof of that, that's fine. I just don't like the idea of awarding something if you only get one bid unless we know other
But
people.
they're the same company we used to replace these windows in this building, in the fire department, when they were replaced. I'm not sure if they did anything with the senior center, but
Well, Tracy.
I don't
I
know.
can reach out to.
Oh, I
Tracy,
mean,
right? I
I
have
I
not
get-
reached out to.
I get nervous about things.
Right.
What's the cottage
Gina,
used
those-
for? What's that? What is the cottage used for?
Well, right now, it's kind of been in flux as far as what activities will happen in there, but we've had some grant money that we are able to redo the cottage, so it's been talked about is using it for arts or crafts for the seniors. It's also talked about maybe just a peaceful setting, it's right there next to the memory garden, like a gathering area or whatever thing, so it's kind of in flux. We don't have like a final use of it, we are just putting it back together and making it habitable.
What's the historical's position on this committee?
The historic commission doesn't have anything to do with it. Our historic commission doesn't have anything to do with it. At one point,
Wait a
Barbara,
minute, excuse me, say that again?
it's not in the historic district of Fayetteville, so the historic commission does not have anything to do with the cottage itself. That's outside of the district. We did have a letter or a report from Barbara Revett, who believes that's one of the oldest buildings in Fayetteville, and thus that's why we're trying to
Correct.
preserve it. So there's some controversy with one person on the historic commission that doesn't believe that's the oldest. There may be others. I'm not just picking on one person. I'm just saying there are people in the village, I should say, that think maybe that's not the oldest structure in the village. But, you know, I guess we don't have a way of knowing exactly what. But that's how we feel about it. It's historical and we want to preserve it.
So where does the historical associate, whatever you call it?
The historic
Where's
district
their
is-
bailiwick? Where's their
Where's
land
the-
that they would see?
Historic district is just here.
Really, Genesee Street's Limestone Plaza, like towards Limestone Plaza, up to,
And do they report to you before they do something?
no,
Who do they report to?
Historic preservation.
they don't report to us.
Pardon?
If there's a problem with something, then it comes to us, but if there isn't a problem, it doesn't come to us.
If there's a building in the designated historic district, and if somebody wants to renovate a window, renovate a door, change the paint on their structure, they make an application to the Historic Preservation Commission, and the commission approves or disapproves, or they negotiate.
So I go through those.
Okay, but-
It's written in village codes. It is in the code book.
Who's above them in the structure of governing?
I
So
would
if-
say the village board.
Yeah, if someone has a complaint, if they want to appeal the Historic Preservation Commission's decision, they technically have to appeal to the zoning board.
This
No,
board,
does it come directly to the-
yeah, it comes right to this.
Comes right to you?
Yeah.
We did look it up, Jane, in the village codes,
Yeah,
that,
we did.
that,
Okay, let's-
we did clarify that after.
So if you went in your house, because you're in the historic
Right.
district, if you went to in there and said you wanted to paint your house orange, as an example, and they said, no, you can't paint it orange. Then, well, you could for Halloween, it's gonna change it back afterwards.
Other Irish people, you know.
So if you were denied, or if you were, you know, if you had a problem or something, then you would bring your appeal to this board. That's how it works.
And do you get appeals?
We have
Just
never had
because-
an appeal, as far as I know. They've always worked it out on their end.
Now, what powers did the Historical Society have? Can they do like a stop work or an order or how can they do?
Do you want me to get the code book? Because it's written in the codes.
So the historic commissioners they can't put a stop work order on something. The codes officer puts the stop work order.
So they get in touch with the codes officer and then the codes officer will do it.
Correct.
Right, if it's, if there's something going on that necessitates or allows for, he can't just go put a stop work order on for no reason. But if there's a reason, then he can put a stop work order on. So, if you're referring to something that happened recently, that person didn't come to the historic commission to get approval for the windows that and door that they were intending to replace before they went ahead and did it. That's what precipitated the stop work
So
order.
what's the procedure? What do you
Well,
have to do?
typically you would come to you would make your application to the historic
Mhm.
commission. You would show them what you want to change, what you want to do, what materials you're using, how you were going to do it. And then they would review it. And so in the reviewing of something, they would see that you're replacing windows for the same size.
Mhm.
I don't know if you were here when Helen Brown lived down the street, but she used to have long windows all the way down to the porch floor, the house beyond where Barker Wagner lived. Those got replaced and that went through the historic commission and they allowed her to change the size of those windows because she was a older person and she didn't have the money to replace the windows the way they were originally in the house. So, you know, there's been different decisions made along the way over the years by different members and different people that served on this board over time. But the procedure is, you're gonna make a change, you come to the historic commission meeting, you tell them all about what the change is. As Jane mentioned, they negotiate, or they either say, yes, that's great, go forward with it. No, that's really not historically correct, if you're gonna make the windows from this side to this side.
Mhm.
And then perhaps the materials of what the windows, I'll just use windows, doors, whatever,
Right.
something significant. What those things were gonna look like, shutters, perhaps, whatever. So if you're gonna replace shutters on a building with something that's plastic or something, they're probably gonna say, no, we really wanna see wood shutters, or we wanna see some other type of material that's probably out there that I don't know the names of. or-
Does the contractor still have to get a permit from you guys to do the work?
Sometimes.
If the work requires a permit, they do. So the commission doesn't, is not the building person,
So that,
the
If you
commission
want-
only
I'm just
recommends
fuzzy.
the cosmetic stuff.
okay, well,
put it
let's say
that
you wanna put windows in, just for example.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have a contract to put the windows in because they made it a certain way, you know.
way, right?
Now, does your contractor have to get a work permit from you guys in order to do that?
Possibly the codes officer could speak to that.
I would have to ask the codes officer about the permit part of it, but the homeowner is the one that's supposed to come and get
Okay,
get the permission. This particular situation, that contractor worked in the historic district and went through and that particular homeowner went through all the channels they were supposed to go. So that contractor particularly was aware of what should have been done, in my opinion, only.
Mhm.
But, that wasn't what was done in this
Now,
situation.
does when you buy a house in Metro Historical District, are you told before you buy the house that you have to follow all these rules?
No,
They should.
Well,
Well, that would be the village.
that would be up to the homeowner that's selling the house to tell the.
that'd be up to the
new owner.
realtor.
Okay. I'm just
And the
curious.
realtor.
Yeah.
A lot of the realtors are good about that.
I don't want to touch the typical.
We've had different realtors try and sell property down there over the course of the time I've been on this board. Tried to sell property as commercial property and it's not commercial
Yeah.
property down through there.
I will say I've had several calls from realtors. They're actually pretty mindful about it
Yeah.
to make sure they know what is and isn't allowed and do convey that to the potential buyers.
So in other words, you're saying that the person before they own the house.
Well, if you were buying a
They
piece of
should be
property,
aware of that.
if you were buying
Right.
a piece of property, I think you should do your due diligence
Yeah,
to
well,
look
yeah.
and see
Or whoever your
What it-
agent is, yeah, sure.
what it involves or what it doesn't
Right,
involve.
I
It's not our responsibility just because we have.
No, I'm not
district.
saying that. I'm not saying,
Right, no, but I mean, if you're buying something for hundreds of, or thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, you better know what you're buying if you're.
so
if
And I
you're
try to
buying-
proactively, if I know there's a new homeowner in the area, forward them the information just to proactively make sure they're aware if it wasn't disclosed as it should have been in the sale.
It's up to the agent then to inform the owner.
Well, whomever, I mean, I don't know who's buying or selling property down there, I don't know.
No,
who's- I mean, that part of it, so yes, I would say
He's trying to
definitely.
get a big picture.
Yeah, no, and I think you're absolutely correct. It would be up to the homeowner selling the property, the agent representing that homeowner, and or the agent representing the buyer and the buyer. I think it's those four people are responsible to know what they're doing. Two people selling and the two people involved in the buying should know what they're buying into or selling.
Okay. Thank you.
So the cottage is not in the district.
Yeah, I understand that. No, I understand that now.
Yeah,
No, that's why. I was
So did
curious.
you get to
Why
finish
this
about the cottage?
Association was.
Yeah.
so even though
getting
it's,
involved in it.
even though it's historical, it's not in the historical.
Historical.
Right.
It's in here.
And it's,
Sorry, keep track of everything.
we're trying to stay respectful of the, historic amenities and character of the cottage.
I think everybody is.
We're not being purists, but we are trying to stay
I think
respectful. So
everybody is.
we have this proposal before us. It is not an easy. It is not easy to get a second and third bid. And the bids will not be looking exactly the same. This is just a more complex replacement issue. So I'm okay if everybody wants to hold on this and we spend a few
Well,
more weeks trying to get another.
I'm not trying to hold it up.
Okay, all right.
I'm just saying that if it's just as long as it fits in.
Yeah.
You have to be
We're
careful.
gonna custom make the first.
You did request other people.
I've reached out. I haven't made contact with a lot of other people. So yeah, I could take more time and do it, but,
So that's one of the things that has to be paid for by the it's not pick up the big right.
This would fall under another.
A different, right,
Right.
okay.
Because it's
But it's also getting
30
big,
the date on there.
it's also getting big money.
Right. I mean, there's windows in there, right?
Yeah, those windows are still there.
Yeah.
Some are broken.
I don't wanna hold it up if it's, if that.
No, it's got a like a 9-week lead, so it isn't like they're gonna, you can't get them.
You know, we could seek a motion to not exceed this.
Yeah, that's good.
And so this is part of my issues. It has a 8 to 9 week lead, which is, it's, you know, the summer came and went really fast, a lot of busyness. You know, I can still continue to seek other bids, for sure, but,
Well, the thing about it is now, it's, what you just said is now out there. That amount of money.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
For the bids, yeah, so you're gonna have to look at our social media and find that.
Yeah. Unless it gets a raise. Unless it gets a raise.
You're back.
You know, you learn really quick.
I've been through this before. We started.
How's Lori?
Another one we started up there. We got stopped right away because it wasn't following union rules or something like that. That both the unions or against them.
That's prevailing.
Well, you know, why don't I go ahead and, communicate with these guys and
Tell them they gotta have them in and.
yeah, tell them I'll tell them that we want to get something started. And I'll light the fire under their little toes. In the meantime, we'll see if anybody else is interested and come back in 2 weeks. If we're still stuck with this one bid.
And if we, if you have the information and you must do something sooner than 2 weeks, let me know and we'll figure out how we can do it faster to get them ordered faster because we're running out of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so either a quick meeting, a morning meeting or. Whatever. By proxy and phone and then do it on the meeting, do whatever. We can do this. I don't want to slow it down.
Yeah, I respect that. This is probably just.
But
I'm gonna slow make it.
Well, it's the same scenario, so if you might want to think about both holidays.
Mark,
I'm good.
So the first meeting in October falls on a holiday and the first meeting in November falls on a holiday. So that's why they're both noted, both months to be need to be considered.
So our meeting date for October 14th is Columbus Day and you can't go down a holiday. So check with everybody. I believe everybody's available on the 15th at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
15th or 16th?
15th. Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
3 o'clock in the afternoon. Does that work still for everybody? So that's we need a motion to do that. So I vote, that
Yeah.
motion.
So moved.
Vote, and second.
Second,
Okay, all in favor?
so 15th at 3.
15th at 3 p.m. Then November 11th, our first meeting in November is on Veterans Day, so we need to move that. Anybody have confidence in November for the next day?
The only thing to be mindful of is the second Tuesday of the month is often a court night. I don't know if that is still the case.
Well,
I
Tuesday,
failed to ask her if her month was changing,
Tuesday or Wednesday. We don't have anything else here on Tuesday, do you know?
other than the court. I don't think so. I just didn't know.
No, the court's upstairs.
I think that really the way the meetings are set up, if we have a conflict, we should go with the next month.
Monday, did you say?
No, the next night.
Tuesday.
If it's
Monday.
so
Yeah.
That's fine.
Tuesday, November
Routine.
12th, and then this time there were some conflicts for people's times. That's why we went to 3 o'clock. I'd like to keep it like at 6. If it's okay. Well, I'd like to keep the time the same, even if the day is a day later or something,
No, I get
when
it.
possible. And this wasn't very possible because there's a lot of people that need things going on today.
The further on we make these applications.
No, that makes it easier.
I gotta say that to you.
So a motion for November's meeting also.
So moved.
Okay.
Dave moved to second, all in favor?
Right.
Uh, I have a contract here with Train for our annual agreement on the amount of $10,557. They're to get approved, it's a 1-year contract. And yes, we know that. Voters, so move them as they go down.
I'll say.
Any other discussion on favor?
Aye.
Nice. Anybody in the audience have anything? Besides Brian? Well, anybody else, or I might just take you a few minutes, so, okay, go ahead.
I'm here because of our traffic issues. At North Burdick Street. I've complained about it for a number of years. And it's gonna be a lot worse now, seeing the town has pushed through that extra 300 apartments at the top of the hill. So that's gonna have 300 cars down there. At Burdick Street. And it's not just Burdick, it's Genesee Street. You know, and now we've got, believe it or not, in the neighborhood down there, we've got young couples in there. We got grade school kids. My next door neighbor has a kindergartner getting on the bus. Watched the bus stop the other day. My wife's out there screaming. Bus has stopped in front of the frickin' house next door. Cars are blowing through the reds on that school bus. They aren't paying any attention to interview shit. They're passing cop cars down there. Tickets aren't being written. It's 30 miles an hour. Cars are going 40, 50, 60 miles an hour down there. And I'm sorry. And the police tell me they're standing there with their frickin', and I've stood right there with their shooting radar. They're going by, they're doing 35, 40, 50, 60 miles an hour. They aren't writing tickets. They sit across the street in the town center running radar. They aren't writing tickets. It's the same thing on Genesee Street. What do we gotta do? Why aren't they writing tickets? You know, I mean, something's gotta be done.
Why don't we have the police chief come to our next meeting, you come and express yourself,
Guess what?
express that.
I like our chief. I've stood next to him down there when he's running radar and these cars are passing me doing 40, 50 miles an
I
hour.
do too, I like all of it.
He's a great guy, but why, who's told him not to write tickets? Why are they letting this shit go? Our chief's been told by somebody, is the town controlling our police department? I think so. Are they trying to, I mean, they're gonna have those 300 apartments up there at the top of the hill. They don't want, I mean, look at Manila. Remember years ago, you didn't cross the bridge in Manila doing 31 miles an hour because your ass got a ticket. You knew better than speed through there. Look at the traffic out here, what's going on here, the accidents here, people come, I know, Mark, I sat and talked to Mark when they ran the, they had the speed machine over here. The average speed on Genesee Street was 43, 45 miles an hour on Genesee Street. Nobody's stopping or anything. The tickets aren't being written. If we can't get the police to go, I mean, you go to the state, the state work zones, they put those cameras up. Why can't we do that on Bertie Street or Genesee Street?
I go along.
I'd love to have those things up down there. I mean,
I have a meeting coming up with the chief and we talked about, they're willing to do whatever we.
Let's get
need
them here.
To do. I'll have them come to one of our board meetings, but
Let me
in the
know.
meantime, I'm gonna meet with them and,
But wait a minute,
they will focus on the areas that we asked them to focus on. Because I've had a lot of people comment about traffic and speed throughout the village.
I'll tell you, I sit and listen.
that stretch of roadway is not in our village,
What is it?
Burdick Street.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Half of it.
Going up the.
Oh, I see.
This is the whole thing, Jane. It's a county road.
Right.
From the center of the road toward the town center is town. You cross the culvert, that's town. So you got town road, county road, village road. Who do we talk to? The town just blows smoke up my ass, gave me cancer. I mean, and I've been here, I don't know how many times with frickin', the village board. I mean, what are we gonna do? We lost control, and the thing is, we keep building and building and building. And we're
we've lost
in here and we can't control. what we
What
get.
we've lost control of is people that care. People
Nobody
that care.
cares.
Right, that's what I'm saying. We've lost that as a society. If people followed what was, well,
I had to take my.
I mean, if their speed has to stop the school bus, society doesn't care about each other. That's the problem.
I had to call an ambulance. My wife had an MS stroke, okay? I had to call freaking ambulance. The ambulance came down, they had all their reds on and everything else, they're trying to back into my driveway. Cars were passing that ambulance on the right and on the left, they weren't stopping. The ambulance is trying, if they don't stop for emergency vehicles. We got, maybe we need more, get the sheriffs, the troopers or somebody down there to stop this shit. It's gotta be taken care of.
Yes, thank you very much. We can call the town police chief to come here, but it's a county road, and I recall having a discussion years back about installing a traffic light. Pretty much where, if you recall that development at the end.
Yep, they wanted to put it up by poles, they wanted to put it right at the foot of the hill there, poles.
Right, you wanted
And they,
traffic
well, the
lights.
thing was, they wanted to run a road around, you remember, Jane, they wanted,
Yeah.
when they were gonna develop at the top of the hill.
Right,
You know, they wanted to run a road around there, but they're gonna put it through the floodway, blah, blah, blah. Now, that piece of property right next door to me is sitting there,
I know,
they filled it in,
I know.
and they haven't done a damn
How
thing
did
with
they-
it.
how does that happen?
Well, look at all the promises, you were on the board and planning,
Yeah.
look at all the promises were made. Well, the trees were gonna be replanted, this was gonna happen, that was gonna happen. And what I told him, he was a freaking liar right there, and it didn't happen.
Let's,
But the thing is, nobody follows up, Gene.
well, let's just time out here. You have a very strong concern about the safety for yourself and for others on Burdick Street. It's very valid. Everybody on this board agrees that there's concern there. We also all know that we will have more folks and more traffic probably in a year and a half, if the apartment complex is completed. So now is our time frame to get to the folks who are the decision makers. You know, we are just going to be another agency to help try to get to the decision maker. We don't control traffic, and neither actually does, I mean, the chief and his,
Well, the police can only do, but the police can only do so much.
I know,
They're
that's gonna do so
they're
much,
not
that's why,
ready.
that's why I'm
I
suggesting the
understand,
cameras.
if
we
they're
need a
just.
long-term solution.
But see, the thing is, I understand what you're saying, Gene, about
Well,
putting
we ordered
putting
cameras,
in another light.
we
down there,
ordered
remember?
for cameras out here.
You
We
watch
got
them race
back
from-
in town.
Race from the light from the other side of town center to the, to the village here. They try to be, it's like running down Erie Boulevard. You know, they race from light to light. And if the light's green, it's 45 all the way up through here, from Linden all the way through. If they catch all those lights green, they don't slow down for nothing. And the traffic buildup is even worse. I just, we need something
We
done.
need something.
And I know I'm putting it on your shoulders, but you know, where else do I have to go?
Yeah.
I mean, I
We need to
call,
the county, we have a county legislator, representative, we need to talk
Are
to.
you talking to?
McMahon.
No,
Oh, Mark, he don't return freaking phone calls anymore. He's gotten so tired of listening to me, you know? I told him to answer his damn phone or I'm gonna go to his house. He was supposed to show up with the plans from, the twin ponds up there. And that's the other thing too, with the town and the village both. You know, when the new project's coming in and stuff, I bitched at the town and she got up and left because she knew she was gonna get it. Because they only send out notices to people that live within 1,000 feet of the freaking project. That's not right, because that Twin Ponds is gonna affect everybody all the way that whole floodway, all the way to Oneida Lake. It's gonna affect everybody. You know,
well, I'll let you know when I meet with the chief later this week and I will, see what we can do and see where.
I've gone over to see him, you know,
I know.
but he's busy, you know, I've talked.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I do know the county is the decision maker on any kind of additional traffic control
Like
device.
traffic lights or.
Yeah, whether it's a light or something
well,
else.
they've done enough traffic studies down there, they
Well,
know,
we
they know
don't
what's
even-
going on
yeah.
down, you know, they know what's running up and down that, I mean, you know. But they are gonna spend the money to put a light up and maintain a light there. The town center's not gonna pay for it, you know? No,
But we'll keep trying. I mean, you have a valid concern. We respectfully are listening to you. We only have so much leverage here. Yeah, so we'll do what
Well,
we can.
we'll do what we can do. We'll see. I'll let you know.
well, I'm on record now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again,
All right, thank you. Thanks for coming.
Coming.
Hanging in there. Ted, did you have anything? So just want to thank Karen for all of her hard work on the Fayetteville Festival. I guess it was a very good event.
No, actually, it was a group effort. The DPW was fabulous.
No,
And as well as all the organizations that were there. We
Right.
wouldn't have had a festival. It was not for them.
Bands were good.
The bands, yep, all the vendors we had, all the organizations collectively, it really was a good day.
So, well, thank you. You did a lot of it too. So
Thank you.
they wouldn't have all known when to do it. So they might have all done a really good job too. And I appreciate all that everybody did. So thank you. Okay,